Hello, welcome back to this video series on the overview of the TI-nspire calculator specific to the CAS version. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the calculator tab in the documents. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to open a new document and add a calculator tab. And this is what the calculator tab looks like. It's just a blank screen, and you can go ahead and begin to do four function computations, 8 minus 3, hit enter, and there you go. Or you can do some scientific calculator computations. I'll go ahead and add a trigonometric expression, sine of, and let's do pi over 2. So I have pi divided by 2, and it will tell me that it is 1 if you're in radian mode. And you'll know that you're in radian mode if you look in the top right corner. It'll say rad. It's letting you know, one, that you are rad, because you are, and then it's also telling you you're in radian mode. We won't use degrees. You can change back and forth just by clicking it. It will take you to degrees. If it doesn't allow you to click and change, it means you need to update your operating system. Let me know when you see me, and I can go ahead and do that for you rather easily. The other way that you would change it is in this drop down. If you click doc up here, I'll click the number 7 and then 2 right here, document settings. So you can go ahead and change it there. Okay. All right, so that was some trigonometric expressions. You can also do exponential computations here. So let's do e. Let's just do e. So I want e to the power of 1. So I'll go ahead and enter it, and it says, hey, it's e. And remember, e is a number. So this is giving me the exact output, the exact answer, which is pretty cool that the TI does that. But say I want it in decimal form. I can go Control and then enter, and you'll notice right above the enter button is the approximation symbol. So I'll do that, and it will tell me 2.718, which is awesome. So I can go ahead and convert it. Remember, it's better to be in exact form as much as possible to use the precise number. But if you ever need to go ahead and approximate, we can do that, and then always use at least 3 decimals, rounded or truncated. So 2.718. Okay, so that was e. If I want a different exponential, let's go ahead, let's just calculate 4 to the power of 3. So 4, if I want a number bigger than 2, right? If I just want to square it, you can hit the square button. But I want 4 to the power of 3. I can use the caret button, which is right next to it. Okay, so there's 4 to the power of 3. So that's exponentials. Additionally, we have logarithmic functions. So those are the secondary functions to the exponentials because it's their inverse. That makes sense. I have the natural log of, let's say, 1. Hey, my answer is 0. Okay, control, what about log? So you'll notice here that it asks for a base input. You can use different types of bases. This is more rare. We'll most likely use the common log, which is base 10. But for the common log, you don't even have to enter a base. Watch, I'll leave it blank, and we'll say, okay, what's log base 10 of 10? Well, we expect these to cancel. Our answer should be 1. So I'll go ahead and hit 1, or I'll hit enter, and it will give me 1. And you'll notice too, it just automatically inputted a base of 10 if you leave it blank. So it automatically assumes you mean the common log, but it allows you to change that. Okay, so there's your main 3 different types of functions that you'll go ahead and enter, as well as we have radicals here. So if I want, let's say, the cubic root of 27, I can enter that and get my answer. If you don't see the functions here on the left-hand side, you can go ahead and access them in 2 different ways. One, we have, next right here is the book, and there's lots and lots of different types of functions and features you can enter. We will rarely use this, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of there. I'm going to hit my escape button. But right next to the book is our mathematical functions. And here you'll see a plethora of options. You can go ahead and enter a fraction. You can enter an exponential, radicals, base E, some logarithms. Here we have the option to enter piecewise functions, which we will be looking at, absolute value. Things we won't be looking at, degrees, minutes, seconds, anything with matrices, we won't be using that. We'll get into summation notation, as well as derivatives, integrals, and limits. And then this last one allows you to enter a subscript. So similar, right, to a superscript, which you can use as an exponent, a subscript, kind of like the log, base, you can do that, okay? So those options are there. That's your access points to your different types of functions, all right? I want to go over some of the most commonly used items that you'll be looking at in this calculator. The first one is looking at how we use the shortcut for the fraction, because that's really common. And so I'm going to enter a radical here, and then I want there to be a fraction in the radical. Well, the shortcut for that is Control and then divide, and you'll see it right above. There's your fraction, and it allows me to enter a fraction. So I'll just enter some decimals, 0.7 times 4 divided by 26. And we'll get a long decimal, okay? So again, Control divide. That's how you quickly enter a fraction. Something else that you're gonna want to be able to do is to define functions. Remember, this is a dynamic calculator. So say I have a function that I'm gonna use a lot. 2x squared minus 3x minus, I don't know, let's throw in some trig. That'll be fun. Cosine of x. Okay, and I want to store this. I'm going to use this a lot. So one option is to go to Control, and then right above the VAR, you'll see the store. So it's saying, okay, now I have an arrow. What do you want me to do with this? And let's just go ahead and call this, let's call it something we've been used to. I'm going to call it f of x. So f parentheses of x. And I'll hit enter, and it says done. Done. Okay, well now I want to go ahead and use this function. I want to evaluate at a certain value. So one way to do this quickly is you have this button VAR here, and you'll see, hey, it's f. So I can see, all right, f of, and it's saying, what do you want to input? What do you want to input? So let's just do f of 2. I'll enter 2, and then there is my answer, 2 minus cosine of 2. Well, I want it to a decimal place. I want to approximate. Okay, so I can go ahead and approximate it. Another way to do this, you can just use your keypad. And again, if I enter f here, you'll see it's in bold. That recognizes it as a mathematical function. If I punch in any other value, you see how it's not bold. L, M, right? Those aren't bold. But as soon as I enter f, it's like, hey, you can do something with this. So f of, let's say, what's 3? F of 3. And I'll go ahead and hit enter. And it's 9 minus cosine of 3. Okay, so storing functions. You can also do this, and this leads us to our next kind of area of high use for the calculator function is the menu button. So when I click menu here, the first one is actions. It says actions. What do you want to do? Well, I want to go ahead and define something. G of x. So I'll enter G of x is equal to, let's just say 2. I want G of x to always be 2. So I'll go ahead and hit enter, and it's done. So now I can go ahead and enter what is G of 5. Well, my function's 2, so my answer is always going to be 2. Okay. What's also great about this calculator is I can go ahead and just kind of re-enter something. So if I go up using your keypads, so you see how I have G of 5, I can hit enter when it's highlighted, and then I can just go back and I can delete 5. I want to know what's G of 10. Well, again, the function's just 2, so our output's always going to be 2. But I can do that, or you can go ahead and use it just like a computer. You can hit Control C, which allows you to copy, and then I'm going to go down and I want to paste it here. So Control V, and voila, there you go. Okay, so copy paste, that's great. All right, back to the menu button. So we have some actions that we can go ahead and do. The main things that we're really going to use are algebra and calculus, but I'll let you kind of peruse the number drop down. You can go ahead and use these tools, although we don't really use them often. You have the algebra drop down, which we will use. Here we have solve. That'll be a very important tool. Factor, expand. Zeros and completing the square will also be important tools. Then we have numerical solve and solve system of equations. The rest of the kind of tools we won't really look at or use. And then your main bread and butter for the menu is the calculus drop down. So again, you can access these back in the mathematical function area, but here underneath the calculus drop down we have derivative, integral, and then limits. So those are just some of the main calculator tools. I hope you learned something from this video. I hope you learned how to calculate certain functions and expressions and store some variables in the calculators tab in the TI-nspire. All right, I'll catch you in the next video.